Hello everybody, welcome back to another weekly market review for May 20th to the 24th for several major Forex pairs and a few commodities and equities. We'll just kind of get into this here real quick. Start by analyzing the news for the week. Fairly eventful week on the news front here, so make sure you're aware of pretty much what you see. I'm not going to get into this in too much detail for the sake of this review. I want to keep this short and sweet, but I just have a peek at a couple of FOMC speakers on the Monday for US dollar, Canadian dollar bank holiday on Monday as well. And then going into Tuesday, we have some medium impact news events for the US dollar and an inflation report for the pound sterling. So watch out for that one. Probably drive the market on the pound quite a bit. And then going into Wednesday, further news for the pound. Another FOM speaker speaking for the U.S. dollar. Lots of pound, medium impact pound news again. So Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be moving on the pound. So keep an eye out for that. Canadian dollar on Wednesday news event, and then more FOMC meeting minutes late in the day. So Wednesday is pretty much going to be, and those FOMC meeting minutes, they will probably bounce prices around a little bit. So just be careful of that. You may see muted price up until that on Wednesday. So Wednesday may not be the best day to trade. Definitely Monday and Tuesday, though, are going to shape up nicely. And then going into Thursday, we have lots of euro news. So the euro has really been sitting silent for a while the pound has been moving quite a bit. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So I think Thursday is obviously going to be the day for them to finally release the euro for it to catch up with the pound. And then going into Friday, we have more news for the pound dollar, some European parliamentary elections, which are going to be pretty big on the euro. And then, and again, they actually start the day before, late in the day on Thursday. So just watch out for that. Again, you don't want to be trading the pound after about noon, 1 p.m. New York time. Don't trade the euro. And then going into Friday as well, too, I would stay away from that, because those elections will pretty much move that thing. And then, like I say, finishing up the week, we have some core durable goods news coming out at 8:30 a.m. on Friday morning. So that's your week in a nutshell. So again, just a real quick recap. Watch out for all the cable news coming down the line. And then on Wednesday, you want to be aware of FOMC late in the day. 2 great days to trade, Monday and Tuesday, and then going into Thursday, the euro is going to be moving quite a bit on Thursday. So I'm not saying don't trade the euro on Thursday, but I'm saying just be careful, because it could fluctuate quite a bit, especially later in the day, going into these European parliamentary elections. So, okay, running into the markets here quick. We can see here, this is a weekly on the US dollar. I want to start out on here, looking for an upside target of 98.40 on the upside. We're pretty close. I mean, it's only about 60 pips away. Last week was a great big up week on the US dollar. That was about $1 it moved to the upside. So it can easily run up to the 98.40 level going into the week of May 20th. And I think that could be where we're going to be heading here. It may not be a straight shot up there, but I think by the end of the week, we should be looking at prices being damn close to up there. So watch for that. Going down to the daily, you can see we had that run down first thing right off the hop on Monday of last week. Ran under all these lows here, scooped up all the liquidity, retagged off of the level of this, the inside of this consolidation level. Now, I would consider all of this in here to basically be one big consolidation level right in there. And you can see they came right down to the middle of that range and rejected off of it and pushed higher. And I didn't have my expectations set real high. I was just sort of wanting them to see them run above all these equal highs right in here. We got that last Thursday, and then some. Obviously, Friday put another big up day. So again, going into this week here, I think this level here is obviously going to be a target. And then more than likely, if we see enough momentum, and we do have those FOMC meeting minutes and everything else on Wednesday, so I think there's a real likelihood that that's going to be the target before the week is out. So we'll just put that on the chart, and I'll put a price tag on that. And more than likely, I think that would be the target to shoot for. So what I would like to see them do, though, is come back down if they could. And at the time of this recording, we haven't quite started trading yet. It is Sunday at the time of this recording, but we are still about an hour away before the open for the day, for the Sunday open. What I'd like to see them do is start to trade lower and see if we can't get them to come back down to the 97.50 level and essentially do something like this. Start out the week on a softer note, run back down, and then push higher. We may not get that. We could just have them run straight for this high, and then the FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday start to shoot prices lower. That could certainly be an option, so just watch for that. But if we do see a breakdown on Monday, going into Monday, I would be looking for them to rebalance down about the 97.50 level, and then hopefully shoot this thing higher. And again, if they just keep shooting higher right off the bat, then more than likely, I mean, you could get long in the US dollar and obviously pick your targets right above here at 98 and higher, obviously. But I wouldn't expect that bullishness to continue going into FOMC. They'll probably want to do a bit of a retracement later on in the week. So just be careful of that. So really, we're just going to have to wait and see how price opens up. And but we have, obviously, our levels that we can trade off of. Now, the other thing, too, if we go down to an hourly, you can see here, this is that level that I'd like to see them come down to. We also have a couple equal lows right under here. Price is pretty bullish in here and very, very well traded. So more than likely, like I don't see it as a huge, I don't see them coming down. Like I think honestly the likelihood of them just going straight up to here is probably more possible than if they were to come all the way down here. I think they may save running these lows under here until later in the week. That's just sort of a thought right off the hop, just looking at it on the lower time frame. On the higher time frame, again, you know, I would like to see them come down, and maybe even just the high of Thursday's candle would be all they would need to rebalance lower. So that would be another level that I'm going to throw on the chart here as well. So 97.50 and 97, you know, call it 70 would be the two levels I'd be looking for. Now, we're not talking about a whole lot. We're 10 pips lower from current location to the first level, and then we're only 20 pips. I'm sorry, 30 pips higher on this one down here. Again, I don't know the likelihood of 97.50, but if you see price start to break lower, watch 97.70, and if you don't see any support at that level, then there's a good chance they could try to stretch down to 97.50. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on the downside. If we do get that retracement, and again, that just comes in, pretty much just underneath these lows right here. I'd like to see them come down and just rebalance off of. Okay, so with that in mind, short-term bias to the upside, at least until it clears this high in here, and potentially until it reaches up 98.40. We can obviously look at short positions on the Euro USD, on the cable, long positions on the USCAD, because that does exactly typically what the US dollar does, long positions on US yen, and short positions on Aussie dollar. Okay, so if we're looking at the Euro USD, keep in mind Thursday there's all those parliamentary elections starting, lots of news for the Euro USD, and the likelihood of this thing continuing to fall is pretty strong. So again, we had very, very decent price trading in here, very nice clean levels. I would expect a run back up. Again, if we do get a run back up, if we get any retracement at all, I would expect them to retrace back up to the 111.65 level, somewhere in around there. We're not too far off from there. We're only about 10 pips away. So if it does start heading back, I'd be watching what the US dollar is doing to clarify exactly what it wants to do, because there are a couple equal lows right here. You see that right there, two equal lows right above those candles right in there. If they really get some downward momentum on the US dollar, it could propel this thing all the way up there. I don't think that's too likely. I'll say that right now. I would be honestly surprised if they traded higher than the high of Friday, or even the opening of Thursday. I'd be very surprised if they wanted to trade all the way back up there. Certainly a possibility, so watch out. That's that 11200 level, right up in there. but I'm looking for them on the downside to run this low here, and then ultimately to get lower and run this low right there. So that's what I'm looking at on the downside. And hopefully they do that. Like I say, hopefully they don't leave that for those European elections on Thursday and Friday. I'd want to see them try to reach for these areas in here. For sure, this area right here before Thursday of this week. So going down to an hourly. And again, this was you could certainly have traded this. You know, you see the consolidation level in here. They ran the highs and then they broke down. You could have done a very, very simple breakout retest trade on this guy right here. And this is in every trader's, or should be in every trader's repertoire. Another tool in your tool basket. When you see price breaking out of a consolidation area, you wait for them to come and retrace back to the lows, which would have been right into here. And then you get short right there. And let's say you even just went short right off of this level right in there. I mean, honestly, price would have only retraced on you, and you would have had a drawdown of about 3 or 4 pips. So that would have been a beautiful trade if you got involved in that, and I hope you did. I think we're going to see current future prices go lower, and that's our targets that we have set up on the for the rest of the week. So could be some decent trading on the low being 11100 from our current location, about 11160. I believe we could see a good 60 to 100 pips on the Euro USD if we see that big push higher on the dollar. Okay, pound. I was wrong on the week in pound. I was actually looking for price to run a bit higher than what it did, and it really came down and swept lower. On the downside, this thing's looking pretty bearish, but on the downside, we do have them coming down, and I have a little area on my chart here. Way back in the past, in 2017, we have these 1, 2, 3, 4 candles right here, that consolidation level there, all equal lows. I think there's a very good chance that there's a lot of positions under there that they want to run down to if we see continued decline on the cable. So just keep an eye on that. That 123.65, I've got it labeled right here, is pretty much the equal lows underneath there. That they could be stretching for. Now that's about 350 pips away from our current location. Certainly could do that when you consider the week. Now I don't think they're going to do that in 1 week or anything like that. But if you consider last week's range, we were 320, call it 330 pips to the downside. So what's another 300 pips to the downside for this for next week? I think it could very well happen if they really want to get after it. So just watch that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get down there, but I am certainly saying if we do see continued support on the US dollar and them running higher, it will obviously push this thing lower. So just be aware of that. And I think right in here would be a pretty good target for the first couple of days on the pound. 126. I'm going to put a 50 level on there because I just like that number a little bit better. It could run down to that 45, could run down even lower, but I'd be very conservative at 126.50. Now we're currently trading at 127.13. So what I'd like to see, same type of idea as the Euro USD, get a bit of a retracement going into Monday up to the 127.70 level, maybe a little bit higher, and not too much though. I don't want to see them go all the way back up. Like I don't want to see them have to go all the way back up to 128.60. But if we lose that 127 level, I'll be looking there, and then I'll be looking up to here to see if we get any return back up to there at all. Definitely possible. Not going to rule it out. You don't want to just get short just because price is coming up to here. You want to wait and see and make sure that they're confirming that price is going to go lower. And then you could get all over that. And I want to see if we can't see a run down to 126.50 on the week. Okay. If price goes any higher than 128.60 on the upside, I'm sorry, 128.65, 128.70 on the upside, not interested in looking at anything on the cable. We'll have to wait on the sidelines and see what they want to do. But keep in mind, they have been really running the cable. Like I said, they moved this thing all the way down this week here in this big momentum downwards. Look what the Euro USD has been doing. Not a whole bunch. It's just sort of been, it has been running down, but it's really been taking its time to get down there. So I think the Euro USD is going to be catching up this week. And so there may not be as many favorable trades on the cable as what there is on the euro, but we'll have to see. Obviously, price is going to be opening up here in about the next hour or two, and then we can see sort of what how they're going to play their hands out for the week. USCAD, still not much to talk about this guy here. Looking for two upside targets here and here. We start to see some momentum on the US dollar. We should see USCAD push out of this range that it's been creating. But it's really just been trading in this shaded range for the past 2-3 weeks here. Not doing anything. Thursday last week came down, swept those daily lows. And we looking like we're going to be going up a little bit higher. And I hope it does start going higher from here. But we'll have to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to hold off on my analysis for the Canadian dollar, other than I don't want to see it going below this line down here. I'd like to see them start to push higher from current location, and really I'd like to see them pop out and then try to come back and retrace back down to this level to get a confirmation off. I don't necessarily want to just get long. Just because we're chopping this much in here, it'd be very easy for them to push a big wick down, stop everybody out if you got too tight of a stop, and then just run in your direction anyway. So I'm going to hold off on the Canadian dollar, but I do anticipate higher prices. But keep in mind there is this rate here, if you can see this, if I can grab this line here. We have two relatively equal lows, or three, 1, 2, 3 right there. So I'm not saying they're going to do it, but they could easily just sweep down, run some stops, run those stops under there, and then reject and go higher. So that's why I'm going to elect to see. I want to watch this open up. There's lots of Canadian dollar news this week as well. So they could obviously just come down and do that quickly. If I see a run down in the manipulation lower that's running these, I'd be looking for the price to wick and reject, and then we could potentially get into a long. But I'm not looking at any long positions at current location. Or even up into here. I'd wait for them to come up, reject, come back down, rebalance off this 134.75 level, and then push higher. And then we could look to get long up into these old highs way back in December 2018. UJ, to finish up the foreign currencies, is finally seeing that reversal that we were looking at for a run underneath these lows. It did that here and then came down 2, 3, 4, 5 more days and sat sideways, and then finally we start to see them running price up. Like to see that get in line with the US dollar. We saw a big decline in here where the US dollar we really didn't see. We saw a bit of a decline in here, but we can see now obviously that big reversal. I'm waiting for the UJ to catch up, and we have this obvious gap rate in here at 111.10. I think they can easily stretch up there. That's over 100 pips away. So what I'd like to see again is for them just to basically run price down a little bit. I'd actually really like to see if they could just sweep underneath these lows here, retag off of this consolidation level, and then go higher. That would be a great play in my mind. But you can see here, all signs are pointing to this gap getting run out. I think they're easily going to do that this week. So keep an eye on UJ. I think there's a good chance we're going to see higher prices, definitely over 100 pips this week. Could be some easy pips on the table for you guys there to get long anywhere from current location, or ideally if price comes and slams down into here, you could certainly get long. I'd be getting all over a long on here, and I'd keep a pretty tight stop, not super tight, but I wouldn't want to see price running any lower than these lows in here. So you could easily take advantage of that, and really, I mean, that's only about 40 pips and over 100 pips. Oh, well over 100 pips on the upside if you're looking to get long from down in here that you'd be risking. So it would be easily a 4, if not a 5 to 1 reward to risk ratio on that trade there. So keep your eye on UJ. I think it's going to make some pretty good moves going into this week. Australian dollar's been falling off, and for our premium members, I'm going to do an analysis between the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore here, but could be some opportunity on this guy moving forward, and our premium members will get that. If you want to find out more information on that, you can obviously go on to f45trading.com. Check out what we're all about. There's a ton of options in there. If you're a brand new trader just looking to figure out how to get in the markets and get involved, we can help you with all of that. And right up into novice and advanced traders, we've got chat rooms and signal services, live analysis, and so much more at f45trading.com. So go check us out. That was my shameless plug for the video. So Wrapping up things with oil, we obviously have a technically oil is still caught in this consolidation level, and really I'm going to consider this a consolidation level as long as it's still trading between these two levels. So that is obviously 63 on the upside and 60 on the downside. As long as we're still trading there, I'm not going to get bullish or bearish on this. I still think there's a real chance that they could swing lower and just run under. Look at all these perfect lows in here, and they never ran below that. I just feel like we're going to see continuation to the downside. And now we saw them running back up into this 1, 2, 3, 4 candle consolidation level in here. And they're not, like, it doesn't to me look real bullish. Yes, we had 3 straight up days and a nice return above, swept all those highs in there. But I don't see that as super bullish. Anyway, I'm going to wait and see what happens going into next week. If we start getting above 63, 60, well, you know what? Let me put it right here. If we start getting above 63, 65, then maybe we can look at potentially targeting up in here. But until we get above that level, I'm not really interested in going long yet. And I'm not saying I'm going short either, because they could just sit here and move this sideways for an indefinite period, which they've done here, in here, in here. Okay, so I'm still not convinced. And there's so much turmoil going on right now. And again, I'm not going to get into this, but I'll just get you to do your own research on oil this week. There's Iran making some moves. There's Venezuela that's going under. There's terrorist activities on Saudi oil, U.S. dollars and trade wars. There's just so many geopolitical risks associated with oil. This could honestly go anywhere. And so I'm going to hold myself off on this until it makes clear direction, until it lets you know, yeah, I'm either going straight up and we're going to be targeting these levels up in here like I think it can, or no, you know what, price is going to fall off. It's a lot weaker. They're producing a ton, and price is going to come and rebalance underneath these levels here. I'm not going to make that guess until, I honestly think personally it's going to be going lower from here. But like I say, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not going to wait to do anything until price breaks either this high here or this low here, and then we can look at getting the move lower. Okay? That's about it, folks. I'm going to reserve the rest of my analysis for our members. I want to talk a little bit about gold and a little bit about the S&P 500. And again, I'll just save those for our members going into this week. So I hope you guys all have a great week of trading. Be profitable. Be safe out there. There is some news coming up, so you got to be careful of. And if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to shoot me a note at f45trading@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to help you out with whatever you need. Or check us out on our website, f45trading.com. There's a whole plethora of information there for you guys that'll help you out. Thanks very much, and we'll catch up to you next week.